Hey everybody, this is Armand, and today I'm going to talk to you about floating your Floyd Rose or other tremolos. I'm going to be doing my example on a Floyd Rose original bridge, so those of you who don't have a Floyd Rose, just kind of bear with me. They all run about the same concept. So now I'm going to explain to you the concept of the Floyd Rose bridge so you can understand what adjustments we're about to make and you can better understand what we're doing. What I've put on the screen now is a representation of a Floyd Rose from the side view. So if you'll bear with me, I'm going to explain the forces that you put on here. The first red arrow on the screen is to represent these strings coming out of the block, and the bottom arrow represents the forces coming out of the springs. So these two forces are balanced by the pivot joint, which I'm now going to show on the screen. And when these two forces are in complete balance with each other, the bridge will remain level as depicted on the picture. But if one force is greater than the other, let's say you tune your guitar higher and you don't adjust your springs, then your bridge will favor towards the springs, or it'll look like it's hanging out of your body. And then if you put lighter strings on your bridge, it'll sink into your body, so it'll be favoring the springs. So what we're going to do is learn how to balance these two things. Alright, so I'm going to do two examples for you. I'm going to do one where I tune my strings higher and one where I tune my strings lower, and we're going to balance it out for both scenarios. Just a note ahead of time, for those of you who don't have a recessed tremolo, and what I mean by that is, see there's a cavity carved under mine where the bridge can sink into, and that's recessed. So if you do not have a cavity under yours where the bridge can kind of tilt into, I suggest you put a cloth under it. This will be to avoid scratching your body or something. For Fender bridges, I wouldn't worry about it. They usually sit on there. But yeah, just a heads up. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and I'm in standard C tuning. My first example is going to be tuning up into standard E. So that'll bring my bridge out of the body. So then we can do a balancing of that. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and unlock my tuners, and I'm going to take off this back plate right here, and that'll expose our springs. Alright, so I haven't finished tuning all the way up that whole step, but I wanted to show an example of when you should stop tuning up. See how my bridge is sitting far out of there? If you look at it from this angle, you can see it's already risen quite a bit out of the body. So what you should do at this point is go ahead and just tune all your stuff back down until it's less than level, and then or until it's about level, and then tighten up your springs some. Now the procedure for tightening up springs is you have these two screws in here. Some of you might have a different configuration. The Ibanez ones especially. You guys just have like a turn knob on some of yours, but you tighten these two screws. Be very careful not to strip them out. Or your other option is to add another spring in here. Some people will put all 5 springs in there because they'll play with such heavy strings, but I only have 3, and they're actually pretty tight springs. You can get different types of springs, but I have 3 springs in here to counteract, and I might have to put another one in order to support these strings. So what I'm going to be able to do is crank these down and get them in there, and then, go from there. I keep on guessing and checking until I can tune it up without the bridge coming out of the body like it is. So we're going to keep on trying to get the bridge to go back down into the body, unlike it is right now. Alright, so I gave a few turns. I gave about just 1 or 2 turns. Go in about half-turn increments, unless you have severe bridge raising, like I did earlier. Then you want to do maybe 1 or 2 turns on your screws here, but be really careful you don't strip these out, alright? What I do is when I go to tighten them up, I'll push up on this piece just to give some relaxation off the screws, so you won't be working against that. But so I went ahead and did that, and I started to tune back up, and the bridge is not pulling out as much as it was before, and so I'm going to give it another pass, and we're going to see if we can get this bridge balanced. Alright, so I finally got my guitar into tune, and as you see now, the bridge is floated. You can tell it's floated because it is level with the body. It is parallel to the body. It's better to be a little bit back than it is to be a little bit forward, because going this way raises your action off of your fretboard. You can watch that it raises off the fretboard just a little bit. Well, that one raises off the fretboard because it's extremely heavy a string, but you get the idea. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tune downward, and we're going to level the bridge. So it'll give you the opposite example. What I've done is I just straight went ahead and started tuning down, because this is a different type of process, but like when you're tuning up, you want to loosen your strings in order to tighten the springs, just because that'll be adding tension to your strings, and that'll pull them harder and they can possibly break. But whereas when you're tuning down, you're relieving tension off of your strings, and then you'll just be loosening up your springs to balance that out. So as you see now, my bridge has sunken into the body, so it's no longer level, so it's actually in there, as you see. And what I'll do now is I will loosen up the springs. We're going to loosen these springs back here, so we relieve the tension off of the bridge, so it'll come back out of the body some. Alright, so I went ahead and skipped the steps, but we went ahead and did the same thing again. You do this over and over again until you get the bridge situated level. So do it in small increments. If you're getting nice and close, just go back there and turn one of your screws, maybe half a turn, let that be. Just a side note, you want to keep your screws as similar as possible, so you don't want one way down here and one way up here. I mean, you just want to balance out what's going on back there. But my bridge is now balanced. You can see now it's balanced, and so now I can play away with my Floyd Rose all I want, and it should stay level. Just remember, lock your tuners back up, make sure you're in tune. If you don't know how to operate your Floyd, don't fool with this just yet. Go watch my other video on how to restring. It'll give you the complete overview of what the Floyd does, how it works. I hope I've helped you guys float your bridges. If you have any problems, usual, comment me, message me. If you have a serious problem, make a video response. But have a nice guitaring day.